Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm scrapbooking these two photos. Yes, more Millennium Falcon photos from Star Wars land. This is our little thing that shows what we were. We were gunners this time. This is just an outside shot of the Falcon. And then today's sketch is this super fun one with lots of triangles and mixed media. Now my photos aren't exactly going to match, so it's going to be a little bit funky in the center, but let's see what I can do. Okay, so the first thing I did was cut out a bunch of rectangles out of some papers that I went through and just pulled from my stash. So these are all, I'm pretty sure they're all Echo Park papers. There might be a Simple Stories paper in there. Let me see. I have them still. Echo Park, Echo Park, Echo Park. I only have 3 of them. I don't know what the 4th paper is. Maybe Simple Stories. I don't know. Now, I was thinking if you have a rectangle and you cut it on the diagonal, you get triangles. And what I didn't realize was you get right triangles. You don't get isosceles triangles. You get right ones. So I do go ahead and make that work for me. So I do not have as many kind of triangles pointing towards the center of the layout as in the sketch. I kind of do it my own way. This is where I realize they're all right triangles, and I'm like, no matter where I cut this, I'm still going to get a right triangle. So I just decided to kind of layer them up and see what I could do. And I'm going to kind of leave what I ended up playing around with on the process here, just so you can kind of see what I was going for and what I was really struggling with. Since I did make them all right triangles, I thought, well, if I just kind of, move them around, and then they're not going to all be the same kind. Now, I even thought about flipping it around so that the pointy parts of the triangle were on the outside of the layout instead of the inside, but I was like, no, I kind of like this pinwheel effect that I have going on here. And then what I decided to do was put them like this so that the same pieces of paper were opposite each other. And then I thought, oh, it would be cool. I have enough triangles to do this. I should layer them up and kind of give it a little bit more oomph and a little bit more pizzazz. Since I, have all these right triangles and I'm not going to be able to fit as many around the page as I want it to. So I go ahead and start layering them up so that there's just a little bit extra. Not that, these triangles aren't enough on their own, but yeah, I had them. What in the world am I going to do with these triangles besides put them on this layout, right? Because, I'm not going to save the scrap because that's not what I do. Now, I decided to make sure that the layers that I was layering up weren't right next to each other. So that meant, since I had 4 papers, I was going to alternate. So the floral and green are together, and then the orange and the yellow are together. And it looks a little funky right now, but I think once I actually get the photos on it, it makes more sense. And I was going to use different photos than I ended up using. It just wasn't really working the way I wanted it to. It just felt funky. So I am going to put each of these. Oh, the yellow paper. That's not Simple Stories. That is a paper house. I cannot believe why I thought that was Simple Stories. It's my favorite yellow color. This version of yellow is like my favorite yellow color to scrapbook with. It's from Paper House. So I did go ahead and put the points all meeting here in the center. And, that looks funky. So I go ahead and add a little bit more adhesive because I don't want the little triangle-y bits to fall off the page because that would stink. And now I'm going to grab my photos and make it happen. So I'm thinking that I'm going to have this 4x6 photo, and then I'm going to cut the other photo down to 3x4. And I trim it down to this part because I thought that this would look okay. Plus, I cut out the people that were standing right in front of the Millennium Falcon because I really didn't want them in the photo. It really has nothing to do with those randos. It's just the photo that I have. So I go ahead and I'm going to switch out my photos, and lots of finger tapping and trying to figure out what in the world I'm going to do. Now, I also had that black sheet of cardstock, and I toyed with the idea of fussy cutting around this entire pinwheel and matting the white matted pinwheel on black cardstock. Ultimately, I decided not to do that because I was like, if this turns out all wrong, I don't want to deal with that. And this is, this layout has already proven to be a struggle for me because this is like basically the second version of it. Total truth moment here. I had made a layout and I was using a stencil instead of cutting out triangles, and I inked it, and the ink was great, and then I do my thing where I put a little glitter over top of it just to give it a little bit of sparkle, but the glitter, I actually didn't even use glitter. It was a Stickles, like a Stickles bottle, and it was so the wrong color that it just looked like a big mess. So that got tossed, and we tried again. And I was like, if I screw this up, I don't want to have to do this layout a third time. You know what I'm saying? Even though I didn't complete the layout, I knew that it was destined for the bin as soon as I pulled the stencil off and realized how bad the glitter clashed with what I had going on already. Completely different papers too, you guys. So anyway, I decided to use the little droid guy, and then that same picture of the Millennium Falcon, and now I'm much more happy with the sizes of the photos, and also the fact that it kind of matches the sketch a little bit more. Now, I was toying with the idea of shooting out some of these little black rhinestones, like out with the triangle. I decided not to do that. I just was not feeling it. I have to say, this layout was definitely a struggle for me. It wasn't coming together as easily as some of my other layouts do. This isn't my normal thing. Triangles are not my normal thing. I would say they are way, way far from being my normal thing. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, I go through my letter stickers, and I've got this pack right here, and they're just about all gone. I don't think I have any more vowels whatsoever, but I do have enough letters in there that I can kind of cut them apart and make them what I need to. That R is actually not an R. I'm not exactly sure which letter it used to be, but it is one that I had cut up into an R for another layout that I ended up not using. So now I have the word first, and I mean, it looks a little funky, right? Like that, it looks a little funky, but I'm okay with it. The whole layout feels a little funky. So now I have that, and I'm just going to flip through my letter stickers again and just figure out what I'm going to do. And I honestly had no idea what my title was going to be until I saw my black thickers that I pulled out, and I just tried to make a title out of them. So since first was the word that I used, I went ahead and decided to call it First Peek. And that's peek as in sneak peek, looking with your eyes, not peek as in top of a mountain. And I figured you could look at this title with the photos as two ways. Like it was our first peek of the Millennium Falcon, or it was the droid's first peek in kind of like the interactive cue at the front. And then I decided to pull out these super tiny jelly bean soup tile stickers, and it's going to say first space peek. Now I am trying to make these stickers go as long as possible, so I use an upside down V for the A and an F for the E, and I just use my white pen to kind of fill in the letters. So now we have the title as First Space Peak. I have the black letter stickers, I have the black photo mat, and then I decide, well, if you're not going to cut this out and mat it on black cardstock, you need to bring in some more black on the layout. So I alternate going around the pinwheel where I outline the top pinwheel, and then I go to the next one and outline the bottom pinwheel. Just using my Muji pen to do this. I just enjoy that pen. It writes really smooth, really easy to use. And then I'm like, okay, there's not enough on this layout. We need more. The sketch has mixed media and stars and a place for journaling. So there's journaling, there's mixed media, there's embellishment, and I'm kind of just like, not really sure what to do with this. So I grabbed my Tim Holtz word phrase book, and I decide to pull out the ones that are the white letters on the black sticker. And I just, I'm trying to find phrases that don't scream, this has nothing to do with Star Wars and Disneyland. I'm trying to do ones that kind of make sense. Maybe not, immediate sense, but something I could justify if I had to. Now I go ahead and get those 3 on there, and I put them off to the left a little bit. That way, even though I have this circular design, I do have a diagonal line of the black. So it goes in the upper left to the lower right with the word phrase stickers, and then the black photo mat, and then the word first in the title. So I'm just like, what in the world am I going to do with this? There was a lot of staring at this layout, you guys. So eventually I grab these enamel dots from Close to My Heart, and I just go ahead and put a couple of them here on the layout, and I'm like, okay, this is close enough to the mixed media. And then I'm like, do I put more on? No, I'm not going to put more on. I felt like I needed to adjust that picture for some reason. I think I picked it up and put it right back down in the exact same spot though, so who in the world knows why I was going to do that. Now I do add in a little Mickey head here because this is in Lana's birthday album, and all of those layouts will eventually have a Mickey head. Some of them I'm doing now, the other ones I'll do when I put the layouts away. And then I decided that it was too close to the enamel dots, so I put it on the other side of the word first. And then I figured this guy needed some outlining too. And I'm still toying with the idea of outlining the whole layout, but it's not outlined right now, so that's the way it is. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. You can kind of see where I blurred that E. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys again real soon for another video.